There's a moment in history when a single ruler didn't just change the course of a nation. He invented one. 2,000 years ago, Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor of China, achieved what countless warlords, kings, and philosophers had failed to do for centuries. He ended the warring states period and forged a unified empire out of chaos. And yet, he is also remembered as the man who burned books, buried scholars, crushed dissent, and ruled with such iron-fisted brutality that his empire collapsed almost the moment he died. So here's the timeless question. Did Qin Shi Huang truly unite China? Or did he break it forever? Because hidden in his story is a warning about power, ambition, and the price nations pay when unity is built on fear. The rise of a man who refused to bow, a child of suspicion and survival. Qin Shi Huang's life didn't begin like that of a destined emperor. He was born into a world where betrayal was routine, alliances lasted about as long as a handshake, and survival was a high-stakes game. He grew up in the state of Qin, an outsider state long viewed as crude, harsh, and unrefined compared to the richer, older civilizations to the east. His father was sent as a political hostage. His mother became entangled in court intrigue. His caretaker became a power broker. Almost every adult around him had an agenda. But the boy who would become the first emperor developed his defining trait early. He trusted no one, and he swore never to live under the shadow of weaker men's decisions. Historians describe him as intense, sharp, endlessly calculating. A ruler who listened, watched, and waited. And when the moment came, he struck. At just 13, he became king. At 22, he seized full power from the regents who tried to control him. And from that moment, his mission was clear. End the chaos, end the war, unite all under heaven. The warring states, a world bleeding itself to death. To understand his drive, we need to understand the world he inherited. For 250 years, China was torn into rival kingdoms. Imagine Europe during its darkest centuries, but with wars lasting generations, not decades. States built walls, armies marched every season, kings rose and fell like waves on a battlefield. This was a world where strategy books outnumbered poetry, and swords were mass-produced like grain. Qin Shi Huang believed this constant war was not just a tragedy, it was a weakness. If China didn't unite, he believed it would eventually fall to outside powers or collapse from within. And so, he turned Qin into a machine of conquest. The Unification Campaign. The campaigns were brutal, relentless, and efficient. Han fell. First, Zhao crumbled, next, Yan tried to assassinate him and paid the price. Wei collapsed under pressure. Chu resisted fiercely, but fell. Anyway, Qi surrendered last, isolated and hopeless. By the age of 38, Qin Shi Huang had done the impossible. He ended centuries of war and declared himself Huangdi, the first emperor. This wasn't just a new title. It was the beginning of a new political idea. China as a single, centralized civilization. And for a brief moment, it seemed like a miracle. The vision of a unified empire. Unifying China wasn't just about winning battles. The real challenge came after. The challenge of building a system that made unity permanent. Qin Shi Huang didn't want a loose alliance of states. He wanted one empire, one identity, one future. So he transformed the country with radical speed. 1. Standardized writing. One script, readable across the empire, so laws, orders, and culture could spread. 2. Standardized currency. Round coins with square holes replaced hundreds of regional systems. 3. Standardized weights and measures. Trade became predictable. Bureaucracy became identical across regions. 4. Standardized road gauge. Carts could travel from one end of the empire to the other without changing wheels. 5. Standardized law and punishment. Strict, uniform laws replaced regional customs. From a nation shattered by centuries of suspicion, Qin Shi Huang built the foundations of something new, something larger than any single kingdom, a civilization. Even his harshest critics admit this part. No Qin Shi Huang, no China as we know it. But unity has a shadow. But every reform carried a cost. Every unification required someone to lose power. And Qin Shi Huang didn't negotiate. He crushed. Local nobility, eliminated. Rival philosophies, suppressed. Critics, silenced. Books he considered dangerous, burned. The famous burning of books and burying of scholars is debated, exaggerated in some ways, misunderstood in others, but the truth is still dark. Qin Shi Huang believed that unity required absolute control. He believed that ideas were as dangerous as armies. He believed that questioning authority was a threat to stability. He believed that fear was more reliable than loyalty. This wasn't unity through harmony. This was unity through force. A society held together not by trust, but by the will of one man. The wall, the roads, the army, and the tomb. As he consolidated power, his projects became monumental. The Great Wall, early version. He connected existing walls to form a colossal defense line against northern tribes, an engineering feat, but one built with unimaginable human cost. The road network highways radiated from the capital like spokes on a wheel, enabling rapid troop movement and imperial surveillance, military expansion. He maintained a massive standing army, prepared for internal revolt as much as foreign invasion. The mausoleum deep underground, he built a city of the dead, the terracotta army guarding him for eternity. These weren't just constructions. They were symbols of a ruler who saw himself not as a king, but as someone chosen by destiny to shape the world. But destiny has limits. Human bodies do. Human patience does. And Qin Shi Huang felt time slipping through his fingers. The quest for immortality. In the last years of his life, his biggest project wasn't the empire, it was death. He sent expeditions across the seas, searching for the elixir of life. He consulted magicians, alchemists, and mystics. He took mercury pills, believing they would keep him young. Ironically, they may have killed him. Because for all his power, his armies, his laws, his monuments, Qin Shi Huang faced the same truth as every peasant in his empire. No one outruns death. And when he died on a journey through his empire, the world he built revealed its deepest flaw. Collapse. The moment he was gone, cracks exploded through the system. The people rebelled. The nobility resurfaced. The officials turned against each other. The crown prince was manipulated into suicide. The empire fell apart within 3 years. 3. After centuries of chaos, after unimaginable human cost, after total, absolute control. 3 years, and it was gone. Why? Because unity built on one man cannot survive without him. Fear works, but only while the person enforcing it is alive. And when the Qin dynasty collapsed, the next rulers asked the same question we're asking today. Did Qin Shi Huang truly unite China, or did he break it forever? What is unity without trust? Let's look at the heart of the paradox. Qin Shi Huang unified China's systems: writing, currency, roads, administration, armies, laws. He built the infrastructure of unity, but he never built the culture of unity. Chinese civilization ultimately survived and flourished because later dynasties modified his system, softening it, moralizing it, and transforming it into something sustainable. But the first emperor's approach reveals an uncomfortable truth about nations. Even today, can unity built on fear ever last? Can a society stay stable when dissent is crushed, not resolved? Can a nation call itself united when its people are obedient, but not loyal? Qin Shi Huang believed that unity meant eliminating difference. But real unity, the kind that endures, requires something else entirely. Trust. Not fear, not silence, not conformity, but a shared sense of purpose. The first emperor built an empire out of stone, iron, and laws, but he never built a nation out of people, and that is why his empire died with him. The legacy that refuses to die. So, did Qin Shi Huang unite China, or break it? The truth is complex, and perhaps intentionally so. He united the systems. He fractured the soul. He created the framework of China's identity, its scripts, its standards, its borders. But he also created a deep historical memory of authoritarian control, state power, and the fragility of unity forced from above. His dynasty collapsed, but his ideas didn't. Every dynasty that followed kept the structure he built. They added morality, philosophy, culture, and governance. They preserved what worked and discarded what didn't. Qin Shi Huang didn't create a lasting empire. He created the template for one. So the question isn't just historical, it echoes forward into our world today. When leaders promise unity, what kind of unity are they offering? Unity of convenience? Unity of fear? Unity of force? Or unity of trust? Because the first emperor proved something timeless. You can unify land. You can unify laws. You can unify systems. But you cannot unify a people unless they choose that unity for themselves. And that is the true legacy of Qin Shi Huang, a ruler powerful enough to unite a civilization, yet unable to unite the human heart. So we end with this. Is unity something you build or something you earn? That's the timeless question. Join us on a journey through the ages, where every question becomes an opportunity to discover. Subscribe Timeless Questions channel now, and start exploring life's greatest questions with us.